Welcome back to another episode of Psycosmos. Today we're going to give an update video, talk about current events and what we've been up to, so stay tuned for more. Here.
So you're probably all wondering where we've been for the last month. Well, we've been working on a variety of projects. One of which I can tell you is our next feature-length documentary. So more information will be coming out about that over the next couple months.
Yep. And then another big part of why we've been missing is because we've been really trying to focus on TikTok. That was one of the platforms that we were focusing on to try to promote our book. And unfortunately, we got attacked by a guy with he has a political and a religious agenda. We don't really need to talk about it, honestly, because we've already made like 30 minutes worth of TikTok videos defending ourselves, explaining the situation. And it was just a whole group of people who just wanted to label a couple of Jewish people anti-Semites and like a whole bunch of other crap nonsense. So, respect to everybody for whatever they want to believe. We are very religiously tolerant here.
Yes. Everyone can interpret the faith and find their own meaning within that for themselves.
Yep.
And that's that.
But it should be made aware, and this is going to be a big topic of today because of current events, but cognitive dissonance has become such a problem in this country. And by cognitive dissonance, I mean when somebody is given information or told information or taught something that completely rejects everything that they believe in their foundational structure. If the foundational structure of their beliefs is not solidified and there are cracks in it, meaning it's filled with philosophical issues, filled with contradictions.
There's cracks in it. Nothing's perfect.
Right.
It makes it easy for one person to look at whatever religious text you're reading and honestly tear it apart depending on whatever standpoint you're
Right, exactly. And the problem is that once you challenge somebody who has a very cracked baseline, they end up coming after you or they end up attacking you. And that's actually what we see a lot between the right and the left within the United States of America. There is that major cognitive dissonance in both parties, and they're struggling because, especially over the years, specifically the far left has really gotten taken out of control. And what I mean by that is everybody knows that the far right's crazy. Nobody has to explain that. Nobody has to explain that fascism and Nazism and all that crap is wrong. Nobody has to walk anybody through that. However, nobody is really calling out the far left, and if you try to, then you get dogged on. Now, what we didn't realize was that the person who attacked us was also a Democratic candidate who didn't win, but was trying to run as a senatorial position. So yeah, just so you know, if you're following us, we're getting slandered by political people who definitely have
who sends his clan of goons after us.
Yeah, he's got his own MO. You can look for everybody who might be his fan. You can believe whatever you want, but you should really Google the guy's name and you should actually read some of his theses, whatever the plural is. I've read some of them, and you should look at his education. You should look at where he lives. You should look at where he's gone to church over the last few years. You should look at the fact that he says that he's not religious at all. Unfortunately, what we have today is about a bunch of bad faith actors. Mm-hmm. These people come out. They basically the waters have been muddled in education and faith and religion for decades, centuries.
And these people also just sink so far into their ideology. What team can they play on and how well? How far can I climb this ladder?
And it's what's really unfortunate is I personally believe, and we're not attacking anybody here because we're not going to use the guy's name. Everybody who knows who it is knows who it is. If they don't, then that's great because we don't want to send anybody after anyone. We are a very forgiveness-based group. Jesus Christ talks about forgiveness and mercy all the time. And if you really want to be a true Christian, then move along. Stop spouting hatred and rhetoric. If you are a person who sits there and spouts hatred and rhetoric, you're not a true Christian. I'll say that blatantly and bluntly because you're clearly not reading the Bible. You're not interpreting the word of Christ the way that he probably meant it. I mean, it's pretty literal when he says a lot of the things about forgiveness and mercy. So just that specific takeaway, if you're gonna go out and dog on people, you're gonna attack people before their beliefs, then again, you're not doing it right. So that's what I'll say about that. But again, all of these things can be proven with a simple Google search, very straightforward, and then you can kind of find out the truth and piece it together yourself. It's not as if this person is wrong in some of the things that they claim, but it's through a very filtered lens, and then of course they claim that they're not privy to any specific religious affiliation, but that's just clearly a lie. So, I don't understand how somebody can claim that they're somebody like a Mormon, but also a Democrat, because often, and I'm not saying you can't be, but oftentimes that those two belief systems don't cross paths. And now you have a lot of left-leaning.
Well, it's one way to not get elected.
Right, that's true. And so you have left-leaning Christians who are trying to understand their faith. They are trying to understand their Bible, but because of the political dogma,
they're completely misguided.
Because of that political dogma. So they're interpreting their spirituality from a person who they agree with politically. These are two separate things. Wow. Separation of church and state. Two separate things. So again, this guy's construing a lot of stuff. You could also argue that we do the same. You could argue because we piece things together that we show a very accurate, vivid portrayal of history and how spiritualities came to evolve over time. That's our bread and butter. That's actually what our book Psycosmos is about, which, by the way, you can get on most retail stores now. But the real sadness that it brings to me is I see it. I read the comments. I read the death threats that we got. The claims of you're an anti-Semite or you're racist or whatever. And like we didn't say anything revolving around that. That's just what you have to jump to for a straw man argument. But essentially, what we're really looking at is these people are a little lost. They're a little sad. They're obviously depressed of some sort where they have to, again, spew death threats. And we did get a number of death threats. We got threats on our lives. We got threats on our families, et cetera, et cetera. Crazy nonsense. And honestly, just to put the whole situation to bed, our TikTok got bombarded with reports. It got taken down because of, we were getting flagged for like sexual nudity or minor safety, like really ridiculous things, but we basically just got flooded by an army of people who were trying to silence us. And this has been a reoccurring thing with our group for the last 3 or 4 years. We have been shadow banned off of almost every single social media platform. We have had now 2 TikToks get taken down. And the first TikTok got taken down for the exact same reason. We were making content similar to this, explaining our interpretation of things because we have done an immaculate amount of research. It has been over a decade in the making, a lot of spiritual journeys, a lot of spiritual conversations, a lot of people that we've talked to. Go look at the whole list of people we've had podcasts with, some very intelligent people, doctors and such. And what we're getting at now is this point where we have to make bigger moves in order to combat this silencing, the shadow banning, the lies, all these lies about who we are. These people don't understand us. Tyler and I have Jewish heritage, so it's like, this is our own faith. And not only that, but we interpret. There's so many different ways. You're talking about Judaism and Hebraism, which is like, well, those are kind of 2 separate religions, kind of. But Hebraism is one of the longest standing major world religions in the whole world. Just as you have different denominations of Christians, you have different denominations of Muslims and Jewish people, Hebrews. There's like, to claim that your side is true while also providing no evidence and claiming, let's just say I have a PhD, so I can say this and I don't have to prove it because I have a PhD and I'm smarter than you. Just an example. That's where you start getting into big philosophical and logical fallacies. And that's where you can't perpetuate that lie too much without the truth slipping through the cracks. So, we're all open for debate. We're all open for kind conversation. If you disagree with us, we still love you. You want to know why? Because you could potentially, and now most of the time this is not the case, I'm just going to be honest, but you could potentially bring forward a wealth of knowledge that we have not known of or looked at. I've seen a lot, trust me, and we've researched every faculty and every outlet of. And
there's been times and situations where people have come to us with a wealth of knowledge and have actually changed their mind on a few different things and brought something entirely new to the table, and it has completely changed and shifted our perspective, arguably for the better.
Yeah, of course, and that's been over mainly the last 10 years, but in the last few years, we've really solidified those beliefs, that foundation, again, that bedrock. We got the bedrock down perfect. The understanding of the history, and that's not a claim of egotism or anything, it's just that it's a lot of hard work. And when I say perfect, I mean perfect for us. I don't mean that it's 100% perfect, or maybe we got one little detail here or there, or skewed a little bit. And that, of course, just comes with learning over time. But that foundational bedrock has been solidified. The foundational bedrock in this book it pertains to anybody. Anybody from any religion, any ethnicity, any gender, any background. They can pick up this book and learn. They can pick up this book and see through the truth. It's the same as our good friend Yaira, who also wrote our book over here, Sefer Yaira. So shout out to him. A Jewish friend of ours who speaks and writes Hebrew. He and I have had multiple conversations on these topics. Yaira even reviewed our book before we released it. And said that everything that we had said in his perspective was phenomenally accurate. So again, it's completely up to each and every person's discretion. But you know what? We could shift topics here a little bit. It really comes down to the people, and I think over time, I think the worst thing that we've done here at Team Psycosmos, even though we've really tried, is shown who we are. We're a bunch of guys who grew up in New York, and we grew up a little libertarian, a little left-leaning. We grew up basically Catholic, but millennial style Catholic light, if you want to put it that way. I mean, we didn't really grow up super solidified to the point of like going to church as we got older, but we had huge faith and spiritual inclination. And we all believed in God. We all, none of us knew anything back then.
No.
And then I think a big breaking point for us was when we started playing that video game Smite, which fucking sucks, honestly. That game sucks. But
It's great, Matt. What are you talking about? I had so much fun.
Best game ever.
We actually, Dan and I, when back in the day when Smite first came out, we were pretty top tier players.
Yes.
We played against that guy High Res Bart on streams all the time and whooped his ass, and he was always crying and complaining about us. But anyway, this game Smite was about different. It was a game where you play as different gods and goddesses of different religions and backgrounds and faiths, and so. As we got older, that became kind of an interest where we started seeing parallels. And then, we went through college, we got our degrees, and we all took a bunch of courses during college that kind of awakened our mind.
College was like a huge discovery of how energy works and how to socialize and learn about other people in the world. And I don't think that should be taken lightly, because coming out of college with that social knowledge and then applying it to the spiritual texts and the religious texts and really being able to kind of see is kind of what you said before about how well that built the foundation.
Exactly, and not only that, but while we were in college, especially for the most of this group, we were in different places. You guys went to school together for a period, but we basically got a good wide variety of different educations. Richard's not here with us right now, but he went to school for history too. So that's what he got his degree in. So again, we have a really, really esteemed background as far as the collective of this group, the people that we know, the people that we talk to, the people we've had conversations with, and not to mention the hundreds of books that we've read over the last 10 years. That a big thing for me and Rich both was reading. I mean, we didn't sit around, just playing with our dicks all day. Like we actually read a lot of intelligent stuff. These guys also read a lot of stuff too, but Rich and I were really bookworms. And I am really big on technology and utilizing that for research purposes. And that's basically how we were able to come up with all the stuff that we know. And we've also been blessed. I mean, we've been blessed tremendously. Over the years with a lot of this wealth of knowledge and information. So
it seems like a lot of the times the information that we really needed kind of just falls into our lap.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. Yeah, and that synchronicity is really aligning in the energy of the universe working with us, because we are we are trying to help and awaken as many people as possible. That's the whole entire goal of our mission. You're not going to see us with fake Amazon people. We've said this. You're not going to see us buy the fake Amazon money and claim that we're these super rich superstars who are going to go around and, I don't know, like Mr. Beast give out millions of dollars. I'd love to be able to do that. Can't afford that, but love to be able to do that. That is something that we would do, but we're not going to exploitively try to fake who we are to get views. And unfortunately, that's the way that the world works. That's the way you have to do it. We don't want to stoop to that level. We don't want to get into arguments with people online where there's going to be visceral hatred and negativity, because that goes against all of our faiths and our beliefs. We don't want to add more negativity to the world. We're trying to resolve all of those problems and be as positive as possible. Our book answers a wide variety of questions that people have throughout their entire lives. And people as old as, I think the oldest person who bought our book is in their 70s, and they absolutely love it. They're completely enthralled. So, again, a lot of people are really enjoying the book. You can go online, you can read about the book. I've actually gotten a phenomenal amount of feedback from the people who have purchased or read the book.
Yes.
And I think there's roughly about 50 or so, maybe more than 50 copies of the book circulating around the world right now. So you know, it's only been a couple months, and it's really only been a few weeks since it's been out on Amazon. So if you're interested, you can pick up a copy of the book. And again, we're going to be doing more with the book to kind of reassure people, to let them know what we're really about. But just stick with us over time, and you'll understand that we're just trying to be as genuine and honest as possible, unlike other bad faith actors, like we've said. So. I don't think we missed anything, but if we did, drop a comment down below if you want us to talk about anything. You can also check out our merch store with all of our little coffee mugs and whatnot. You can also check out our book, Psycosmos, a collection of knowledge for understanding the universe, synthesis on human history and spirituality. It's been doing really phenomenal. So, I mean, at least a lot of people who've been reading it really like it. So, thanks to all of our supporters, thanks to all of our followers, especially a lot of the new ones. We love every single one of you. And if you guys, again, want to chat about anything, drop a comment down below. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.